I have a few circles to cut, so I've done a series of little videos. The first one is this one where we're going to actually cut the glass by hand. So there's a few tools here. Obviously I've got my cutter blade in here. These are normally oil filled cutters, and if you unscrew the brass nut at the end you can fill that with oil, and then when you press on here it releases the oil through the cutting head. Now that's great, but I run a lot of workshops, I've got a lot of oil filled cutters, so I don't bother filling them with oil. What I do instead, this is some sort of old yogurt pot that I've got here, so that would actually work. This is cutting oil, and you can see I've just got a little bit of oil on that pad, and I drop that into here. Let's just put this to one side. So this is your standard cutting oil that I think this one came from Warm Glass. You can use 3-in-1 or machine oil, I think. And all I do is just make sure that I've oiled the bottom, this little cutting wheel on here, just by tapping it in there, and that ensures that I don't really waste any oil. So I'm going to put that to one side. So why do we use oil? Well, it makes the cutting a lot easier in terms of you don't get the tiny little splinters that you often get when you are cutting things, and it makes the score on the glass easier to run. So that's my cutter. I've also got running pliers. These are cheap and cheerful running pliers, just a few pounds, and I find these are the easiest ones for most of my students to use, and they do the job for us, so absolutely great. You can see here you've got a little sort of hump, so once the glass goes in there and you press down, you get pressure either side of the score. That little nose, make sure that that's on the score, give it a press, and it's going to actually break your glass for you. So that's those are Plas Plug ones. I think you can get them at DIY stores as well. And then I've got grosing pliers, which are these. Now you can see these have got like a little crocodile mouth at the bottom. So that goes at the bottom. I'm going to show you how to use all these tools. Goes at the bottom when we clamp the glass, and it's a slight downward and pull action. So, ready to cut some glass then. I'm going to stand up for this, and you probably find that that's what you want to do to make sure you're in the right position and that you are not awkward when you're cutting the glass and you've got consistent pressure on it. So I find this easiest. I would have a practice until you're happy with the way you cut glass. So I have drawn my circle with a Sharpie on this glass, you can see there, and all I did was I drew around one of my glass pots here. So I'm going to go in this direction here, and what I'm going to try and do is take a little score off there and a little score off there. I'm going to go around the other side, I'm going to go off there and off there, and then it will leave us with two nodes here that we then can take off or break off with our grosing pliers. So we're going to do the first side. So I want to start on the glass. So again, even pressure when you're cutting glass all the way around if you can. I'm going to start on the glass, not obviously off the glass. You can start at the top, you can start at the bottom. What you also may notice if you use Tector, certainly, this is a smooth side, this is a rough side. It's easier to draw on the rough side, on the smooth side. It's also much easier to cut on the smooth side. So I'm cutting on the smooth side. I'm going to start here and go all the way around. You could start here and go this way, it makes no difference. So I'm making sure that I'm on the glass, nice even pressure, and I want to follow this circle all the way around and off. Okay, so what you should have heard there was the glass was scoring, and you should probably see, I'm not sure you can see that there, maybe if I sort of twiddle it in the light, you might be able to see there's a score around there. So I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to make sure that I'm going in the direction of the score. Slight pressure, so the nose is actually on that score line. Slight pressure, you can see it's broken there. If you prefer, you can go the other side. Make sure that's broken. Can you see that? Just as I press, that line is going all the way round, and you should see, if I move that in the light, this silvery reflection is telling you that that score line is broken. There we go. So that's the first side taken off our glass. I'm going to do the other side now, exactly the same way. Starting on the glass, nice pressure. You can steady it as I'm doing with your index finger. And I'll show you that one again. So you should see, or you should have heard that little crack as it went round. I'm going to go on the other side. There you go. You can see that little crack there. And that silvery line, hopefully, that you can see all the way round. You should be able to pull that off. You could use grosing pliers if you want, but that's taken that off there for you. So we're left with this circle that's got these two nodes on it here. Now you can see I've got some little bits of glass there. Never do anything like this because you're going to get splinters. Always have a paintbrush handy to get rid of your splinters. Take that off there. It looks as though it went a little bit wonky there. There you go. And we're then going to use these. So these are the grosing pliers that I talked about with this little crocodile sort of mouth there. And what you want to do is make sure that your pliers are up to that score line, and it's just a little pull off there. And that pulls off there. Now if you've got a grinder, the easiest way to do this is to just grind these little nodes that are here. You could nibble away and take them if you want. Depends what you're using this for. I want it to be nice and round, so I'm actually just going to take those little bits away, and I'm just going to tidy that up on the grinder. But there you go. So circle cut by hand, perhaps not as neat as some people do, but it'll work for me. I'm going to use that to actually make a little Christmas bauble once I've just ground the edges. Right, so I've given it a little grind. You could obviously do it with a hand tool, you could do it with diamond pads. You could nibble away with the grosing pliers, but I just find it easier on a post grinder. And you can see that we've now got a relatively smooth edge. So that's my circle. I am going to use that for a Christmas bauble, so watch out for another video with the enamelled Christmas baubles in there. And I hope you found that useful. So don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Tell us what you think, and if you've got any tips, we'd love to hear them, because I'm sure that there's people that are much better than me at cutting glass, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how simple it could actually be. Great, thanks, see you next time.